Councillor Modolo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, it's somewhat ironic that the city's residents care as much as they do about the stuff that they throw away. I don't think anyone would disagree with the statement that waste services in this city are really important to our residents. And I'd go as far as to say that many would consider waste to be the most important service that we as a local government provide to our ratepayers. Compared with other local governments, we have a comparatively generous waste regime, and by that I mean we allow our residents to discard more waste than just about any other. Unlimited green waste at the tip, 4 tip passes each year, 3 skip bins brought to our verge each year. You don't see that elsewhere. Now, of course, we pay for that privilege, and our waste services levy is sky high by comparison. But the evidence is clear that city residents are happy to pay. 96% satisfaction rating is huge. And we all know that if there's ever any mention whatsoever of a change to our tip passes or our skip bin system, our residents become very vocal, very quick. It's an acknowledgement by our city that we have a lot of waste, but we appreciate the city has the systems in place to address that amount of waste. Also as part of our system is, of course, this household 2-bin system. A dark green general waste bin collected weekly and a yellow top recycling bin collected fortnightly. This system has been in place for decades, as I grew up in the city and I can remember I was very young when we had the black tubs of recycling. But for the first time in decades, it's all about to change, because some years ago we decided to accept some grant money and change our 2-bin system to a 3-bin system. So how does it work? Well, for the benefit of the public, the yellow top recycling bin remains the same. Our new bin is a lime green lid bin, which is exclusively for organic waste. New bin, a bit confusing, a bit annoying, but I'm sure that we'll learn to live with it. The change, though, that I really take issue with is that our dark green bin is effectively halving in size and will no longer be collected weekly, but fortnightly. Now, I don't know about you, but my general waste bin is full just about every week, or thereabouts full. And I've only got 1 kid. We're a family of 3. Even if my dark green bin now was collected fortnightly instead of weekly, I'd need to find a way to dispose of half of my waste, because despite paying the same sky-high waste levy, the city is no longer going to take that away for me. Now, obviously, the thinking behind FOGO, if there is any, is that some of what I currently put in my dark green bin is going to go into this new lime green bin. Now, I've tried to get precise figures, but the best our city can come up with is that about half of everything I put in my dark green bin is going to go into this new organic waste bin. 50% to me sounds like a lot of veggie scraps. And I question those numbers, but look, let's go with it for now, because even on those optimistic estimates, if my dark green bin was only filled 50% with general waste every week, then my half-size bin is still going to get full every week, and the city now is only going to collect it fortnightly. I ask you, councillors, to reflect on your own bins, because under this maths, if you fill up your bins more than a quarter each week, then you will have the same problem as me, with the city being unable to pick up your general waste as often as you need it to. This will be a big, bitter pill for our waste-loving residents to swallow. And you only have to drive around the city on any given bin night to see the number of bins that are either chock-a-block or overflowing, spilling rubbish out onto the streets. And we're going to ask these people to reduce their waste by 75%. It's actually bonkers. Now, I'm pretty annoyed that once again, it's left up to the families of this city to right some social wrong. You go to any Coles, any Big W, any Bunnings, everything is wrapped up in plastic and polystyrene and God knows what. But the state government doesn't choose to clamp down on them. No, let's hit the mums and dads out on the street because they don't have enough on their plate and they can carry the burden to recycle more. And while we're at it, let's make sure that we don't tell these families about those documentaries which show that we ship our recycling off to Malaysia anyway, where it's burnt. I think it's reasonably foreseeable that some families will be forced to act improperly by contaminating their other bins with general waste. Unfortunately, humans are humans, and when you've got an overflow of rubbish in one weeny little bin and two big half-empty bins next to it, in the darkness of night, it might be likely that somebody accidentally turns a blind eye to the colour of the lid on the bin. And if you agree with me and you think that that's foreseeable, well, our staff have confirmed that they're aware entire trucks of FOGO have been put into general waste anyway because people don't do the right thing, which undermines the whole damn process. And if that's not shocking enough, well, guess what? They've got cameras on the back of the trucks which record what comes out of your bin and it's put into the truck. And make no mistake, it is possible for these cameras to track down the source of contamination. That way we can find that unfortunate family that had no choice and we can smash them with enforcement action. Yet again, the deception of those with an agenda is exposed. To our face, it's all nicely, come on guys, let's all sort our waste together, so we can collectively make a difference as a community. But meanwhile, behind our backs, they wield a big green stick and you either get on board or you face the consequences. Well, I represent the common sense families of this city and I tell you now, I will not get on board. And I get it. If you've done nothing wrong, then you've got nothing to worry about. But even if I've done the right thing, it strikes me as a gross invasion of privacy that my waste is being recorded. Looking back on the documents, I can't see when council was made aware of this, and at the very least, I'm certain that our ratepayers don't know about it. It's not something I've seen trotted out in our FOGO public education campaigns. What do you think they would say if they knew about this? What do you think they would say if they knew about FOGO at all? Because most councillors are understandably concerned that we plainly haven't done enough to inform the ratepayers of this seismic shift to the rubbish regime that they love. And it strikes me that if council knew the full story, their decision to go with FOGO initially might have been a bit different. Yet even since, concerning information just keeps coming to light, and we simply must consider it more fully before we go past this point of no return. We're hearing of people dumping rubbish illegally in increasing numbers. We're hearing of kitchen countertops being inundated by fruit flies. I'm not here to kill FOGO, and I acknowledge that we've signed enough contracts in the past to stupidly commit us to this project. But the grant funding is contingent upon us implementing this by 30 June 2025. There's no rush here. Us councillors clearly have some questions remaining, and I will not support locking this city in when this vote is the point of no return. Let's have a short review. Let's look at some alternatives. Can we hold off on enforcement action? Can we turn the truck cameras off? Can we have our little weenie red bin collected weekly instead of fortnightly? Can people apply for a second weenie red bin without having to pay for the supposed privilege? If they apply for a second weenie bin and they're refused, is that an appealable decision to SAT? Just so many questions that need answers. Councillors, in closing, by saying no to this, you're saying to our city staff, let's just take a breath. Let's go back to the drawing board for a moment before we force our ratepayers to change from the system they've had for the last 30 plus years and to force them onto this alleged gold standard in waste sorting. Because our city residents deserve those answers first. I ask you to oppose this motion.